Hi class, it's Sunday, September the 20th, I think. We didn't have class on the 17th because I live in the one part of Montgomery that had a power outage when Sandy came through town. So I couldn't do a Zoom class. So this video is to make up for that. It's only going to be about 20 minutes long, but I won't be able to cover as much as in class, but we can make a start. So the topic is Introduction to Quadratic Functions. Before I start, some housekeeping. You should have had your first test now. I don't know how it went at this point, and I won't be able to tell you anything about that until about a week from Tuesday. That's my target date to get that graded and post your grades and respondus. I will be able to look at all your graded homework. So I've reported that through individual emails. There may be a few later submissions that I haven't graded yet. I'll try to get caught up. So I'll have all the homework graded, I hope, by Tuesday, but to deal with the first test, I'll need another week before I can report your grades. We're now going to study quadratic functions. Now, we had a quadratic function on our fourth homework. So I'll even remind you what it was. Our fourth homework. You looked at this function. Y equals f of x equals x squared minus 7x plus 10. So you made a table of values and you graphed the function. So this is an example of a quadratic function. So it has the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So in this example, C is 10 and B is negative 7, and we can write x squared as 1 times x squared, so A is 1. So A is 1, B is negative 7, C is 10. Now, the main thing we want to do in this video is there's an alternative way to write quadratic functions that's very, very useful. And I'm going to call this HK form. So in this video, we'll learn how to express quadratic functions in HK form, namely f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. I hope you can read this. a times x minus h squared plus k. Now, why do we prefer this form to this one in many situations? Well, this tells us all sorts of information about the quadratic function. In particular, it lets us graph it very easily by our shifting rules. To keep things simple, we'll deal with cases where a is 1. So we want to go from this form to this form. So how do we do that? Okay. So the simplest case is when a is 1. All right. Well, let's use the the graded homework example. So let's express y equal x squared minus 7x plus 10 in HK form. So we're aiming for a form like this. So since a is 1, it's even simpler than it was a minute ago. X minus h squared plus k. So what should the numbers h and k equal? What should these numbers equal? Constants, they're constants. Equal for our example. All right, so here's what you do. Start with x squared minus 7x plus 10. Okay, so you take half of b, square it, and add and subtract this number. I'll do it over here. So you remember b is negative 7. Half of b is negative 7 over 2. Square this number. And negative 7 over 2 times itself is 49 over 4. You square the numerator, square the denominator. So negative 7 squared is 49, 2 squared is 4. 49 over 4. So this number gets added here and subtracted here. So we added 49 over 4, we subtracted 49 over 4. Okay, why on earth did we do that? Well, here's what we've achieved. Group the terms like this, the first 3 and the next 2. So these terms are a perfect square. and these terms can be combined to give a constant. So x squared, you have to remember a fact from your 10th grade algebra now, maybe 9th grade algebra. The terms I've circled here are equivalent to x minus this number squared, and then 10 minus 49 over 4, do that arithmetic. Get a common denominator. So 10 minus 49 over 4 is 40 over 4 minus 49 over 4, and that's negative 9 over 4. Okay, can you read that? It's a 9 over 4. All right, now if this step from here to here is mysterious to you, just remember from algebra, not algebra 1, when you square a binomial, you get a middle term. A plus b squared is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Remember that? Okay, and a minus b squared is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. We have a middle term here. You know about that because you had algebra 1 in high school. Okay, so think of this as a minus b squared minus 2ab. 2 times x times 7 halves is 7x, and then b squared is 49 over 4. Okay, now, why is this useful? Well, for one thing, we know what the graph of y equals x squared looks like. It's one of our basic functions that we had a couple weeks ago. And we know our shifting rules. So all we have to do to get the graph of this function is to take the graph of y equals x squared, shift it down by 9/4, and shift it to the right, not the left, by 7 halves. So we can now graph the function. Okay. So here's y equals x squared, one of our basic functions that we studied previously. And this vertex is at 0, 0. Now shift every point of the graph to the right by 7 halves and down by 9/4. So this point ends up here. And the graph looks something like this. Okay, now you may have wondered when you made your table of values where the lowest point on the parabola was. So you remember you tabulated the function from 3 to 6 or something like that, or 0 to 6 rather. The lowest point is actually halfway between x equal 3 and x equal 4. This is called the vertex of the parabola. So this is very useful. Another thing we can do is quickly find out where these points are. Now you already know that because you did the homework, but it's easy to solve and see where this is 0. So let's do that. So using this HK form, we can easily find the x-intercepts of the graph. Where is that point? Where is this point? All right, so we're trying to set this equal to 0 and solve it. Well, look at the left side of the equation. Forget the right side. If you had a value for x in mind, how would you do this calculation? What would the steps be? First, you would subtract 7/2, then you would square the difference, then you would subtract 9/4. Reverse those steps. The third step was subtract 9/4, so add 9/4 to both sides. Now take the square root of both sides. So when you square a number, take the square root, you're back to where you started. Now what about the square root of 9/4? There are two of them. One of them is 3/2, the other one's minus 3/2. So x minus 7/2 is plus or minus 3/2. So x then is 7/2 plus or minus 3/2. So if you choose the plus sign, it's 10/2, which is 5. And if you choose the minus sign, 7/2 minus 3/2 is 4/2, which is 2. 5 or 2. So this x value is 5, this x value is 2. Okay, so we'll work some more with this in class. I rushed through it a little bit. I hope it wasn't too confusing for you, but we can go much slower on Tuesday. Thank you.